In this pod, we'll look at the importance of quality and the different ways businesses try to achieve it.
We see quality every day. You go to buy something and you need to decide if it's good enough. You might ask yourself, is it worth the money? What you're actually doing here is checking the product's quality. So quality is a familiar idea, but there are lots of different concepts linked to quality that it's important for you to know about.
Firstly, how do businesses try to achieve quality? Well, there are a lot of ways that might seem like common sense. If you go to a fast food outlet, you want to know that the employees know how to cook a portion of chips, that they have the correct equipment to actually do it, and that the potatoes are fresh. Any business should have the right materials, have the correct processes, and employ and train staff with the right skills.
But there are two specific methods to make sure a product meets the correct standard. These are called quality control and quality assurance. Going back to chips, you cook a portion, but you want to know if they're good quality. Well, you could look at them and see if they look right. You could break one open and see if it's crispy on the outside and fluffy in the middle. You could use a food probe and check the temperature. These are all checks, which is what's meant by quality control.
The alternative would be to not check the product, but to perfect the process so you were confident they'd turn out right each time. So a business might trial cooking chips at different heats and durations, assess each trial, and find the perfect method. For example, they might find the best method is to remove the chips from the freezer immediately, cook them at 160 degrees Celsius for 4 minutes, shake them, cook for another 4 minutes, rest them for 90 seconds to let any oil drip off, and then serve immediately. If they follow this exact method, they'll get high quality chips every time. This way, they don't need to waste time checking every batch as they know they have the correct process. Perfecting the process in this way is called quality assurance.
There isn't one correct way of doing it, and some businesses will use both quality controls and quality assurance. Quality controls are normally easier, but can be time-consuming and lead to wasted products. Quality assurance is harder to set up, but then should be more effective and create less waste. Quality can be of vital importance, so a business needs to get it right. Even if it's just your local fast food outlet, if they can't cook a portion of chips, do you trust them cooking a burger? You'd probably just go elsewhere if you weren't happy.
But if the business does get it right, it means you're happy to go back. It increases customer satisfaction and creates customer loyalty, meaning you keep returning, and as a result, this drives up sales revenue for the business. You may already be doing this by only having Heinz ketchup on your chips, for example. You're satisfied with it, and so you continue to use it. Some people would never dream of swapping to a supermarket home brand, even if the taste is very similar.
And if a business gets it wrong, not only do they lose customers, get poor feedback and bad reviews, but it can be more costly too. If you take back your chips and ask for new ones, the business has increased costs because they're making more chips. Some businesses have an entire complaints department and spend wages on staff just to deal with customers' problems.
But issues can occur through no fault of the business. For instance, if you outsource production, which means sending part of your production to another business, then the other business now affects you. If you outsource the preparation of the chips so someone else peels and cuts the potatoes, they might cut the chips the wrong thickness. This means your chips now take longer to cook, and you might sell undercooked chips.
Another way that quality can be out of your control is if you're a franchise. This is where different individuals own and run all the shops in your business. So if one employee in one shop does a bad job, it can create a bad image of the entire business. This is one reason most people who own the franchise, the franchisors, will give training to the people running their shops, the franchisees. It's important that they're following the rules of the franchise to standards that are consistent. Businesses want to do everything they can to avoid a bad reputation, and spending money on training is one way of ensuring high quality.
A final consideration is whether a business should attempt to meet quality standards. They can give the business a competitive edge and potentially allow them to increase prices. But what standards can they achieve? Some are more obvious, such as the Customer Service Excellence Standard, which means the business has a focus on providing high levels of customer service.
If a business has an Investors in People award, it means they have a high commitment to the training of their employees. Some less obvious standards are ISO 9001, which is an international standard showing the products that the business produces are of a high and consistent level of quality with minimal defects. And finally, the European Foundation for Quality Management model is a framework that helps businesses develop and improve their own quality.
Have you ever bought something because it's been assured by a standards agency? Why did you buy it? What can you be sure of if it's meeting a standard? All of these things go one step closer to customers buying your product over that of your competitors.